All right, so if you're on this video, that means that your first priority or second in your paper is that you want to work on the whole conventions of the paper. The grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, how to put your quotes in correctly. So before we go over that, as always, we're going to go over the learning intentions. So during this station, you're learning how to edit specific pieces of your analysis paper. If you're on this video, that means you want to figure out all the conventions aspects of it. And you're learning this in this way so that you are identifying what you need to work on, and then you're going to go back and edit it. And you're going to know you're successful if you watch this video and edit your paper based on the video that you're watching. So for conventions, I'm just going to list different things that you really need to look out for and go back and edit. And then after the slide, we go through it. You can pause the video, keep this slide up, and kind of go back and edit your paper. And then I'll go on another slide and you can do the same thing. So some proper conventions that you should be checking for. The first one is capitalization. As you know, every single sentence should start with a capital letter. So for example, if you're starting a sentence just being like this story or the author, the first letter of the first word in every sentence is capitalized. The next thing you want to check for capitalization is that all your character names are capitalized, because these are proper nouns, which we went over a few weeks ago. So if you're talking about Rosara, Luciana, Senora Inez, make sure that their names are capitalized. Specifically with Senora Inez, Senora and Inez are both capitalized because that is her full name. To make sure you're doing quotes correctly too, if your quote is in the middle of a sentence, you're not capitalizing it. And your quotes should always be in the middle of a sentence, because if you just put the quote in, that is plopping it in, which would not make sense. So for example, if I was using a quote about how Rosara feels that she is a countess, I would say Rosara feels like, and then quote, countess, because she was helping out the whole party. The quote from the story is the word countess, and it's not capitalized because it's in the middle of my sentence. Quotes that are also a quote in the story, you use just an apostrophe and then the quotation marks. This can be confusing, but basically if you're using evidence that is something Rosara may have said, or Luciana, or Rosara's mother, then you're going to be basically having 3 little dashes. How this would look would be like, Rosara tries to defend her friendship by saying, with a comma before I introduce the quote, shut up, you know nothing about friends. So you see that right here, there's my quotes showing that this is a quote from the book, but then it's also the apostrophe adding a 3rd little dash to show that it is something she said. So if you need to check on capitalization or your quotes, pause the video now, go through, and use this slide to help you make sure that you're doing everything correctly with these 2 things. Once you're done, unpause the video, and then there's one more slide we'll go over. Here's the rest of the things that you should be looking out for in your essay. Spelling. Spell check is your friend. Use it. If you go on Google Docs and you can go to tools, there's spelling and word check or word count, I think it says. Click on that and it will take you through each word that could be wrong. A big thing I've been seeing in a lot of your essays is there's some run-on sentences. A sentence should only be one complete thought. It may be 2 with a comma, but really just one complete thought. If you're trying to say a bunch of different things, that should be a few different sentences. Because in the long run, it never hurts to add more sentences when you're trying to explain something. But if you keep it in one sentence and just keep on going, it's going to sound really confusing. So make sure that you're checking your sentence length. This is just an example, but if your sentence is 3 lines long on your paragraph, it probably needs to be split into at least 2, maybe 3 sentences. When you're using a lot of commas too, this is a good way to check to see, could this be another sentence? And lastly, just the format of your essay. It should be in 12-point font and a font that is easy for me to read or whoever is reading your paper. The 3 fonts I say are the go-to ones are Arial, Times New Roman, or Calibri. Any of these 3 would be perfect and easy to see and understand. So pause this video, keep this slide up, go through the spelling, check for any run-on sentences, make sure your format is nice and easy to read. And when you're done, you can exit out of this video, continue editing, and feel free to watch one of the other seminars that are available for you to continue editing your paper.